Alright, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Call Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to you brothers pushing the word in sincerity and in truth. Now, here's another episode of History and the Law. When we go into the history, sometimes we get into the law, however the Spirit brings it out, but mainly getting into the history of these scriptures, the stories of our fathers, from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob to some of our kings, to the apostles, to the prophets. All of these examples are in the scriptures for our learning, as it is written in Romans, the 15th chapter. The things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So we bring it out through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, and put a little spiritual commentary on it. But today's episode, we're going to go into the time of the book of Acts, in particular a certain account when some of the prophets were persecuted, and the multitude was chanting, for the wicked. But the Heavenly Father, He does what He does. The Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah does what He does. So we're going to go into the book of Acts, the 12th chapter, right? And we're going to get into that, and we're going to read that, Alright? So this is the book of Acts, the 12th chapter. I'm going to start at 12 and 1. It's a pretty short chapter. Try to go through it real quick. Acts 12 and 1, it says, Now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, and he killed James the brother of John with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So this happened around the time of the Passover. The church of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah was being persecuted, and some of the apostles, they were slain by the sword of Herod, and it pleased the multitude of Israelites, the 2/3 that we call them, today, the multitude of people that didn't have the Spirit of the Lord, and it pleased them to take it pleased the multitude to kill the righteous men, which in this case was James the brother of John, which he was killed with the sword, right? Because back during that time, during the time of the Christians or the followers of Yahweh Shah, which these apostles were, the church was being persecuted, It says, verse 4, And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quadrants of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter. Now we know that word Easter, when you look it up, it's really the Passover, It says after the Passover, to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto Yahweh for him. So when Peter was apprehended and he was put in prison, you had members of the church of Yahweh Shah praying daily, praying constantly, pray without ceasing. The scriptures tell you to pray without ceasing, man. But they prayed without ceasing for Peter. That Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah would make a way for him and have mercy upon him, You gotta keep in mind, men were actually dying during that time. People were actually dying for the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, for the name of the Lord, for the testimony of Yahweh Shah, which in these times that we coming into is going to be the same thing. Alright? Verse 6, it says, And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains. And the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell from him. His chains fell off from his hands. Shalah. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself, and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee, and follow me. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. When they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, then forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord have sent his angel, and have delivered me out of the hand of Herod, and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Because Peter made that statement that he knows of a surety that the Lord, I'm gonna read it again. It says, and when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord have sent his angel, and have delivered me out of the hand of Herod, and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. Yeah, so Peter was confirmed in his spirit to know that that the Lord, it was the Lord with him through the angel to deliver him from the expectation of the Jews. And what was their expectation? To put him to death, man. That was his expectation. You know, I mean, that was their expectation, Shalaki. You know, I'm gonna keep on reading. This is verse 12. It says, And when he had considered the things, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. And he said unto her, Thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then said they, It is his angel. But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. And that's what that was a work that the Heavenly Father did. Mind you, the church was praying without ceasing for Peter, because they knew that Peter was apprehended, and they knew that Herod wanted to have Peter put to death after the Passover. And they thought that this is the angel of Peter. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua did a work right there, man, by sending the angel in to deliver Peter. You know, because it wasn't Peter's time at that time. You know, so Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, I mean, this is a good example of, you know, the angel of the Lord encampeth around those that fear the Lord, man. Because Peter had one hell of an office in the church, you know. I'm going to keep on reading. Verse 17. It said, But he beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declare unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, Go show these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. Now as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers, what was become of Peter. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea in their abode. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, It is the voice of a God, and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not Yahweh the glory. And he was eaten of worms, and gave up the ghost. But the word of Yahweh grew and multiplied. And Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem, when they had fulfilled their ministries, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark. Hey, so, you know, Herod the king, he had one of the apostles put to death, and the angel of the Lord put him to death, man. because he was exalted. You know, he probably was high minded. Yeah, he was high minded. And they said the multitude of people said, look, he said a God and not of a man, and the Most High put him to death. You know, so I mean that's just a quick account of what happened in the ancient days. You know, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, these things have happened, and that's another thing that proved that the leaders, the Most High can get them anyway. The leaders of the people that have people under them, the people of high stature, you know, the Most High can destroy them. You know, look at what he did to Antiochus Epiphanes, in the book of the Maccabees, man. You know, these are men with great power. Herod had power to apprehend Peter. You know, and his intentions was to bring put Peter to death after the Passover, man. You know, just to appease the wicked people of the wicked Jews of our nation, which they were wicked Israelites, man. But with that, this is another episode of History and the Law. You know, and I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, of course, for bringing these these videos out, you know, throughout the four corners of the earth, you know, and all the brothers that's pushing this word, man. And the scriptures, when you get into the history, you know, the history is what is very important, you know. So, you know, all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to you brothers that's pushing the work in sincerity and in faith. You know, it's almost over, man. It's almost over. Shalom.